Generic currency allows for trade agreements to be set up for one or more currencies and have an exchange rate applied when you use a trade agreement for a vendor or customer who uses a different currency. The default generic currency is defined in accounts receivable underneath Setup and then on the Accounts Receivable Parameters form by clicking the Prices tab. The smart rounding concept that supports psychological pricing can also be thought of as a price ending, based on the marketing theory that prices have a psychological effect on people. It relates to prices expressed as odd prices presented as a little less than a round number, such as using $19.99 instead of $20. Combined with generic currency, this feature allows for currency adjustments on trade agreements to reflect consistent price points. For example, if there was a currency adjustment which computed a price of $14.43, your company prefers to have prices that end in a 9. It would then adjust the price accordingly. You can apply smart rounding after a bulk adjustment of trade agreements or automatically apply it after a unit price is calculated based on a generic currency and an exchange rate. This is done in the Sales and Marketing module underneath Setup and then Price Discount folder in the Smart Rounding form. Now let's discuss a little bit more about generic currencies in AX. If the generic currency is selected on a sales price trade agreement, then the sales price specified by the trade agreement will be in a generic currency. This trade agreement is valid for all currencies where the price and price charges can be translated into any currency defined by using the exchange rates that you set up in the general ledger. Generic currency can be used for the following trade agreements: sales prices, sales line discounts, sales multi-line discounts, and sales total discounts. Next, let's see how we set up a generic currency in AX. You can apply smart rounding after a bulk adjustment by using the smart rounding form. It's found in Sales and Marketing, and then Setup, and then Price Discount, and then Smart Rounding. You'll notice that I have two smart rounding rules already set up. The first one is based on prices ending with 95, and the second one is based on prices ending with 99. I'll maximize this form so we can see the details. If you expand the Rule Simulation tab, you'll notice that there's a field here that we can type in an example price so you can see how the system will round the price. In the Smart Rounding Rules Fast tab, you can add as many lines as you want to determine how AX will round the prices that are between the unit price from and the unit price to. In this first example, you can see the unit price from is 0 and the to price is $1.95. The syntax for this particular price uses a $.95. This means that anything before the decimal place will be replaced or will remain the same as what it currently is. And it will always end in .95. In this particular example, there is no lower limit. However, there is an upper limit. So, if a price is entered that's above 0.7, it will automatically be rounded up to the next 0.95. However, because there's no lower limit, if the price is less than 0.7, it will remain the value that it is. You can test this by typing in a value into the price example before rounding. So, for example, if I type 1.47, you'll notice that the price example after rounding remains the same. This is because there is no lower limit. If we change the price to 175, you'll notice that the price is rounded up to 195. The next row is for the next range of amounts. Again, they're using the syntax of .95 with the hashtag before the decimal place. This indicates that the price will always end in 0.95. Again, there's no lower limit, and the upper limit is 0.951. The next row is for prices between $29.95 and $149.95. For this example, they've changed the decimal place to say that only amounts before the 9.95 will remain the same. So, the lower limit is 4 and the upper limit is 4. This means that no matter what amount we type into the price example, as long as it's before the or between the $29.95 and $149.95 amount, it will be rounded. So I'll make an example of 34.54. You can see this has been rounded up to $39.95. If we make another example of 34.34 and press tab, you'll notice that it's still being rounded up to $39.95. There is a button at the top of this form called Populate Default Rules. When you're creating a new smart rounding rule, you can use this button to help auto-create some rules so that you don't have to type the detailed information in. Now that we've talked about generic currencies, let's move on to our next lesson.